On the road from Liverpool High School, and we're here on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. Tonight we are showcasing the Liverpool Warriors boys volleyball team, and in part number 2, we're here with head coach Mike McIntosh and Jack DeForge. Please give Coach and Jack a round of applause. Show them some love. So, Jack, you couldn't fit in the seat here, so you're already tall. And now you're taller than you would have been even if you were sitting down next to us. How are you? You doing well?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. How do you think your teammates did?
They did okay, I guess.
They did okay. Okay. How are you going to be better? What did they not do that well?
I'm probably not going to be better.
You're not going to be better than them. Okay. All right. Let's jump right into it. Jack, what person on the team would you trust to drive you across country, have no flat tires, no tickets, no driving off the road, somebody who can get you from point A to point B? Who is the most responsible person on the team?
Probably Sajad.
Okay, why?
Because he can drive without his license yet.
Because he what?
Because he can drive without his license.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go ahead and move forward from this now. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
You have a lot of characters on your team.
Yeah.
What is it like being around this energy on a daily basis?
It keeps me on my toes, I'll say that. I can't take any moments off mentally, otherwise I'll hear it. So it keeps me on my toes, it keeps me young, I guess.
Have you figured out all of their inside jokes, or are you still missing a few?
Some, but no, I'd never get it all. So.
Do they try to get you every day?
Mostly.
Yeah. Mostly?
Sometimes I'll get back at them, but sometimes no, I'll just eat it.
You'll get back at them? Okay. Jack, how many inside jokes, ballpark it for me, do you think this team has?
Thousands.
Thousands. What is your record versus Coach in him figuring them out?
Probably 1 in 20.
1 in 20 that he's going to get right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Has he done anything in a response way that you think has been notable? Has he had a mic drop moment on you guys?
Not that I can think of, no.
Coach, do you think you have?
I couldn't begin to tell you. There's so many back and forths. Possibly, but I forget half the things that go on because.
So they joke around a lot. They have fun. They laugh a lot.
Definitely.
How do you get this team to focus?
That's being completely honest. That is something I can commend them about. When it is time to lock in, time to focus in practice or in a game, they do a really good job of flipping the switch, so to speak, in terms of when it's time to work on something. They can turn the right mindset on, and when it's time to not, they can do the opposite. So they do a good job mixing both.
Who would you say is the coach on the court that can get the team to flip the switch the fastest?
I mean, I gotta go this guy right here, Jack. I mean, he's been our guy for the past couple of years, and we kind of go as he goes, and he's a great leader, both obviously with the physical, but also with the emotional on the court as well. So he's a big guy on our court for more reasons than one.
Jack, if you had to hand that baton, so to speak, to somebody else, who would you say you consider to be a leader?
Probably Ben McCarron.
Okay. All right. Why?
He's able to keep focused and not get off task too often.
Focus and to not be off task too often. Who is the person that is like a tornado that you cannot keep on task the most often?
Sajad.
Okay. The same person you picked to drive you across the country?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a person to have, somebody who's off task all the time. All right. Coach, if you had to hand over the keys to the traveling bus of Liverpool boys volleyball, who would you trust to drive?
I'm going to go Noah Bankson. Very, very on it most of the time. Just when I give him something, he sticks to what his role is. He does a great job at it. And I feel like in that situation, he would take it and run with it, and not. I would trust him.
You would trust him.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Season starts out 4-0 in your favor, obviously, and we got a match coming up in just a few hours. Bring me into the focus of this team. Coach, I'll start with you. What you've seen out of them to not only get to a 4-0 start, but what makes you believe that they haven't gotten lost in starting undefeated?
I think a lot of it is the way we've gone about things. We've had in our 4 wins and even the tournament we won over the weekend, we've had to go through winning in all different contexts, coming from behind, having a slow start, being able to figure it out and come from behind to win, taking a big early lead and having teams try and fight back and be able to hold on. I feel like even though we haven't lost, we've went through a lot of different experiences in game, and I think that's prepared us for anything we have coming down the road.
Jack, what are some of those experiences in game that you think have prepared you?
Really just mentally preparing and making sure the team's in a good mood, getting ready, and making sure they're not goofing around the whole time.
Is there a moment in a match this season where you saw the team shift for the better?
Yeah, probably against Beeville when we were tied 2-2 going into the 5th set. We just flipped the switch and started off hot.
How did it happen? How did the switch flip?
Just bringing up the energy levels. That's all I can really say.
Who brings up your energy? If Coach considers you a leader, who's the energy boost when you need one?
Probably Chance dancing around before every game.
Okay. Chance dancing around. What about in the match? Who's somebody that could say something to you and it works?
Kellen probably.
Kellen? All right. Do you remember anything he said this year?
Nope, not it.
No. So Kellen, if he said something, but you haven't heard him say anything in the first 4. Okay. All right, Coach, who would you say on the team right now of your student athletes would be the one that's made the largest jump, that you've seen the most improvement from, that has really made you kind of take a step back and feel like whatever you were teaching got through?
I'm going to go Chase Lovelace. He came up halfway through the year as a freshman last year. We had a need at his position to fill, and he was able to step up and provided a good piece for our team last year. And then this year, coming back as still only a sophomore, he just went from that just kind of position filling role to being a big impact player on our team, and just so early on as a sophomore, it's been huge for us. So I'd definitely say Chase.
So obviously you have a love for volleyball, Coach, but why coach the sport? Why put yourself in that situation?
Particularly in volleyball, particularly boys volleyball, I like the amount of learning that goes on. A lot of other sports, there's a lot more youth sports. They know it from a younger age. They just kind of know it, come up having played it a lot, and boys volleyball isn't necessarily like that in this area. So being able to kind of start from the bottom, so to speak, in terms of learning a new sport, being able to teach that, and primarily just gain interest, grow people's love for the game is what I really like about it most.
What's been the most challenging part of being a head coach?
All the stuff off the court, and not so much like issues off the court, but responsibilities off the court, whether it be scheduling, just all the other things that go behind the scenes that you don't really think about at other levels.
All right, fair enough. We're going to jump into rapid fire in a moment, but Jack, I want you to tell me what you love about the Liverpool community.
We all just love to play the sport. We go to Sharkies all summer long, play nonstop beach, just kind of enjoying summer until we got to get ready for season.
It was weird. Your mic dropped, and I heard you say that you love coming to Avicolli. So weird. Anyways, Mike, for you, what is the best part of the Warrior community?
It's interesting. So for me, I came here just last year. I was coaching at a different school, and the big thing that stood out to me over my year and a half now is just the fact that how involved everybody is in their programs. whether obviously volleyball or any other sport, to be completely honest, how much they go all in, how big of a deal it is. It's not just, I mean, it is just a sport from playing high school, but how much more it seems to a lot of us, which is really cool, and obviously takes us a long way, and why we have the opportunity to be so successful.
Do you remember, Coach, the first moment that you kind of fell in love with the sport?
Oh, jeez. That's a great question. So I didn't start playing in high school. For me, I went to Chittenango, and we played in the winter, which is the same season as basketball, and I was a basketball player all my life growing up. So my sophomore year, I had some knee problems, and finally got convinced to try volleyball. And I was very hesitant at first, wasn't a fan of like the whole idea. Never really played it whatsoever until then. And then I remember going to, this is going to sound a little crazy, but we had a game at VVS High School, which was like the big volleyball school in the winter season, which again is a small school, but in that realm, that was like the team. We went in there to a game where they had like this very small gym, but it was completely full, and there was people all along the sidelines and going and beating them in 5 sets. And back then the 5th set was a 25, so we beat them like an extra points of the 5th set, and with that atmosphere, seeing that environment, having a sport game like that, really kind of clicked with me in terms of really gaining a love for the sport.
I love that, respect that. Jack, for you, do you remember the first time picking up a volleyball you said, maybe this is for me?
Yeah, I was 8th grade. I was just playing soccer in the backyard with my brother, and then he switched over to volleyball a year before me, and then he just asked me if I wanted to play, and that's when I switched over. Just haven't stopped playing since.
So you blame your brother?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Let's jump into rapid fire. We're here with Liverpool Warriors boys volleyball here right down the road from Liverpool High School at Avicolli's on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Coach, you got the first question. What is it?
For you?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been doing this? How many teams? How many years have you meeting with teams here? And what is your kind of most memorable moment of doing this?
So I've been broadcasting. I've been spending more years of my life broadcasting than not, which is crazy. It'll be 21 years in November. I started at 18, and I'm 38 right now. So I would say, I mean, I have a lot of favorite moments, but I could go back to the first one. Go back to when my career started at Marywood University in Scranton, PA, 2 hours south of here. My buddy Brandon Smith, I ended up being the best man at his wedding. He called me 12 minutes before a basketball game, and I was doing laundry at Madonna Hall, my residence hall. So I'm doing laundry. I got my collapsible blue laundry bin, and I was putting my last quarter in, and he calls me up and he said, "Hey man, what are you doing right now?" I said, "I'm doing laundry." "Why?" He said, "Well, the guy that was supposed to show up that usually does our basketball games, he didn't show up, and I don't really know what it's going to be from here. I know that this is something you told me you wanted to do. Would you come down?" And I said, "Absolutely." I left my clothes. I, to this day, have no idea where my clothes went. Whoever has them, enjoy them. And they're not washed. I mean, I can say that much. I didn't throw them in the wash. But I ran over there. I knew nothing about either team. I didn't know pronunciation, nothing. I did that show. They asked me to come back, and they said we're going to do it on TV and we're going to do it on radio simultaneously. They said they loved it, and I put a name to it, a logo to it. I taught my teachers how to make a ticker. Like, I did it myself. They said that they couldn't do the moving script, and we did that. And I did the first graphics for the show, helped to put a team together. And it's my first baby, MU courtside. So I could go all the way back there. And they said to me, I said, "Are we doing men's and women's basketball?" And they said, "Well, definitely men's." And I said, "Well, why wouldn't we do both? Number one, I'm greedy. Like, I want to do both. And number two, why would we not? Like, they're double headers. They're in the same gym." So I started my career in 2003 treating men's and women's sports equal. And now I see an America that kind of likes it, kind of pretends to care about it, kind of cares about it because it's politically correct. But back in 2003, I cared as much about women's sports as I did about men's. And I'm so happy that I covered those teams because some of my friends are from those teams. So, yeah, I can look back on my career fondly and say that I loved every second of it. And I've only gotten started. My favorite part of doing it is this. It's meeting new people. It's making my world small. It's hopefully making people laugh and spreading positivity. And I'm always open to people making me a better person. And if somewhere along the way I can return that favor, I'm happy to do it.
Very cool. I like that.
That's what I would say. My question back to you, Coach. If you took over the show for the day, so Wake Up Call airs Monday through Friday, normally in the morning, 9 to 11, so it'll be on tomorrow morning worldwide. If you took over my show tomorrow morning, you could have 3 guests. Bring me into Wake Up Call with Mike McIntosh and who your guest would be. Anybody in the world. Anybody in the world.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to go... that's put me on a spot there. I'm going to go Bryson DeChambeau,
Okay.
golfer.
Yeah.
Just always interested in his insights. I'm going to go... Dang. Trying to think of some other people. Man.
I like the DeChambeau pick.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got?
I'm gonna go David Wright. I'll stick with sports. I'm gonna go David Wright. He's my favorite baseball player growing up. Again, just love listen to him and his experiences. Then I'm gonna go. We'll go basketball. Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo. Yeah.
That's a nice eclectic group. I like that. That would be an interesting room to sit with.
Be very different.
Yeah, those are good choices. All right, Jack, what's your question for me?
What's your favorite sport to watch on your off time?
Favorite sport to watch? I mean, I played basketball since I was 7. I think I picked up a basketball when I was 3. So it would be easy for, probably one of my favorite days every year, which is the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament. Basketball from noon to past midnight. I do watch it like the Matrix. I have ton of screens going, and I've had the blessing of talking to teams all over the country. So I finally got to talk to Gonzaga and Mark Few, which is something I want to do for a long time. Tom Izzo, Michigan State, obviously a champion coach with what we're seeing at UConn right now. So, I think I've been really, really spoiled with that world, and it's easy for me to watch basketball probably all day, every day. So I'd say, and it's also the sport that I can shut my brain off when I play. So I would say basketball. My question back to you, Jack. If you had to use your last name here in a way and forge a new land, if you could discover a new country, what would you call it?
I really have no clue.
Anything, you could call it anything. So name a country.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria?
Yep.
That exists. So you got to pick one you got to name a new country. There's a new country, you found it, and it's named what?
Jack.
I mean, you got to come up with better than here in upstate New York, where people got tired. And a little late, like we have Oswego, Otsego, they're like all within a letter or two of each other. So I love them all. I'm just saying they're so close. So if you found a new land, you can name it anything. You can name it your favorite food. You can name it after a teammate. You can name it after a superhero. You can name it after a favorite shoe you have. You can literally name it anything. What would you name it?
I'll go with Chancyland.
What did you say?
Chancyland.
Chancyland? Why Chancyland?
Because he's a goofball.
Because he's a goofball. All right. I'm sure the people that inhabit that someday would love to know the story behind the why. Because you named it after a goofball. That's what you would say. All right. Coach, you got one more for me. What is it?
All right. I can't go in too deep into it. What are your thoughts on alligators? How about that? What are your thoughts on alligators?
I genuinely want to know why your guys care so much about this topic.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
I don't think he's allowed to.
So I'm gonna, not knowing the inside joke, I'm gonna turn this into sports.
There we go.
The Florida Gators are in trouble currently. They should have never fired Dan Mullen. I think that Billy Napier, unfortunately, will be away from the team maybe by after next week. So I can say that the Gators of Gainesville are not in good footing right now. And I would love to see their future get better for the sake of my friend Brendan and a person I consider another dad to me, Papa Joe. And with that, I relinquish the rest of my time on Gators.
Appreciate it.
Yes. My question back to you, Coach. If you could be any animal in the world, what animal would you morph into right now and why?
Well, I'm not going to say an alligator.
Okay, I'm going to say the alligator.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think a kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
They can jump high. They can go fast. I think a kangaroo would be pretty cool. And they live in, like, Australia, which is pretty sick. So, kangaroo.
All right. A kangaroo. Not a bad answer. All right, Jack, what's your last question today?
If you were to change one law, what would it be?
If I was going to change one law, what law would it be? Well, I know some laws I'd probably create or maybe bring back, but if I was going to change one law, what law would I change? That's a tough one. I might make, well, I know it's kind of different than when I was a kid, because now, like, what's the driving thing? It used to be like you could get a license when you're 16.
16, yeah.
It's still there though, right?
Yeah.
Because there's, okay. So maybe, okay, this is what I would do. This is the law that I would do. I would retest at a certain age.
Yes.
Let's say like at 40 years old, I would retest America at driving because I love my hometown. I deeply love Syracuse. 95% of the drivers suck, and I don't know why. They don't put on directionals. I just got a new car. I almost got hit twice a couple days ago. One guy was trying to fly through a stop sign. Another guy tried to turn and go full speed into me, coming onto an off street. I don't know what type of drugs these people are on. I don't know what is wrong with Syracuse drivers, but it's like when people come to visit, I'm like, please don't judge me based on the people that are here. I don't know why we're so bad at driving, but we need to retest, because if I was a police officer right now, I would own probably 92% of the licenses that are out there, and there'd be 8% of people driving on the road right now. Now, conversely, down in North Carolina, it's hard to find a bad driver for like miles. But up here, when you pull out of Avicolli's, I guarantee you find 3. I don't know why that is. I mean, can we agree on that?
That's a great call.
They're really bad here. Why are they so bad? Did New York City come up here? What happened? I think they did.
We found that out the hard way this past weekend down there. That's weird.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way, and I was asking the same question, why they haven't been retested.
Yeah, we need to retest people and just take licenses away. I'm sorry, but it's your fault. So, my question back to you, Jack, if you were on death row because you killed an alligator, I'm just using it as a joke with your team, but if you were on death row, what would be your final meal?
Probably my dad's homemade smoked steaks.
Smoked steaks from your dad.
Yeah.
What's dad's first name?
Mike?
Mike. Shout out to Mike. So, smoked steak, what is it about it? Does he season it a certain, what does he do with it?
He'll season it and then he'll throw it on the smoker for however long he wants to, and it just makes the flavor and the juices better.
All right, we're going to shout out Dad. Shout out to your father, Mike DeForge, for Jack DeForge, for the head coach of the Liverpool Warriors boys volleyball team, Mike McIntosh, for myself, Dan Tortora. This has been another one of our monthly specials with the Warriors right here on site, on location, only at Avicolli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. It is early in the season. The team is undefeated. And what I'm going to ask you to do is follow them on the road and go and see them up the road and support your Warriors in every sport, including boys volleyball. Give them a round of applause. They did a great job.